clear that there was a conspiracy within State House. Matere Kireri was fired, Christopher Murungaru was fired, Kiraito Murungi was fired, and in fact the minister then of finance was fired, Mwiraria. And the recent scandals saw the change of guard at State House. So, you know, it is very important when these things happen and the public asks questions that what is going on. So Kibaki's reaction at that time of coming back into power was to bring in George Mohoho, bring in Michuki, and stabilize the government. And Muthaura became his de facto leader of government, and government ikatulia. Sasa wakati huu, Wanakenya wote katika binu zote za Kenya wanauliza mzee yuko aje, baba yuko namna gani. Na baba ni mtu ajifichi. Baba ni mtu anaweza wasiliana na Wakenya kwa video, anaweza wasiliana na Wakenya, you know, hapo.
Because everyone was wondering, of course, in this epoch of time that we're living in, why can't you just maybe post a video and say, hey, I'm in pink health, I'm all well. This is where I'm actually taking my rest.
The US, the US election was lost because the Democratic Party of the US hid the condition of President Biden. President Biden was unwell, and it exhibited itself in a debate where he didn't perform well with Donald Trump. And after that, now in her book, Kamala Harris, the de facto leader of the Democratic presidential bid, is now saying, I wish I had done more. To be honest with Americans, that Joe Biden was unwell and he could not have been able to hack it. So I think that this question of Raila is important. And yes, he's my friend. And there is nobody I would wish better and quick health than Mzee.
So why do you think they
should handle it differently?
Yeah, there's this bugbears and fears regarding, you know, making or giving us a true state of his health to the public. Does it have any implications on the political dynamics in the country from your reading?
I gave you the example of the Democratic race.
Yes.
Many pundits would argue that if Joe Biden had left the race 2 years before, earlier and so on, there would have been better time for a democratic process to choose a candidate to become the nominee of the Democratic Party. Because he did not do that in time, Kamala Harris became the candidate by default. There was no time to create a new candidate. The politics right now in Kenya is very clear. William Ruto is sleeping on nails. William Ruto's government has been disposed since the Gen Z rebellion or revolution of 25th June 2024. The only reason William Ruto is breathing as a president in power is because ODM is there to save him. And ODM is Baba. Akisema left, tunaenda left. Sema right, tunaenda right. And those are the words of leaders of ODM. So in the absence of Baba, the broad-based government and Ruto's safety in terms of, you know, surviving between now and 2027 all becomes questionable. So it is a nightmare for William Ruto that they cannot be able to confirm the well-being of Baba. And the young people, if you just look at the social media and look at the way they are reacting to how Baba is unwell, you can see that they are almost, siding with the issue that, look, without Baba, we can deal with William Ruto. It's now become an issue beyond Baba's health, beyond the issue of whether Baba is well or unwell. It's about whether, without Baba, ODM can remain a member of the broad-based government. I'm saying this because, you know, history is very, very interesting. I remember, when the late George Saitoti had that tragic accident, I remember sitting with two very close friends, and I asked myself, where we were discussing with them, if George Saitoti had not had a tragic accident, what would have happened to the Uhuru Kenyatta bid to be president? How important would it have been to face off with George Saitoti, who had been harboring presidential ambitions for a while? When George Ogola died, the famous KDF person, a lot of people started asking themselves, will we have integrity in the Kenyan military? So the questions which our Kenyans have to raise are questions that if ODM is the critical pillar that is holding this government together, and ODM is BAMBA, then BAMBA's health is a critical issue, as it was in America on Joe Biden, as it was in Kenya when Kenyatta became unwell and Kenyatta passed away. In fact, those who are plotting the Kenyatta inheritance, they could not plan because Kenyatta died before they were ready. They had said Kenya would never be taken over by Daniel Moi. But as they were plotting for President Moi never to take over, Kenyatta died before they were ready. And so I want to say, and I want to be clear to the country, that when you have a man of Raila Odinga's stature, and you have him in the condition that is not known, you begin to make people disbelieve, you know, whatever communication comes from the government or from his handlers. And when that happens, you erode, you know, you erode the confidence they have in the broad-based government. And in the short, medium, and long term, that can add to the political fuel of the so-called Ruto must go movement. So this is, in my view, a critical point.
But isn't this particular broad-based government also predicated on the memorandum of understanding that they do have, right? That if BAMBA is there or not, still they have a memorandum of understanding which will act like a linchpin to see, if, of course, the entire broad-based government run through 2027.
If this broad-based agreement or MOU was a broad-based agreement of people, then there would be no worry. The only problem, there is chaos right now in the minds of those in government, is that this MOU is between two